Hello guys, so this is the second part of the tutorial, and in this section we'll be discussing some of the important tools and libraries that are being used in the data science very often. This is not an exhaustive list, but I have tried to cover most useful libraries, and these libraries are again limited to Python because um, data science and AI models we generally build using Python only. There are other languages like I said in my previous video like R and Java, but um, Python has most supported community, so that is why we'll be focusing only on Python in this tutorial. Okay, so let's get into the some of the libraries which are famous, such as NumPy. So NumPy is one of the fundamental library for scientific computing. So it helps us with a lot of inbuilt operations for matrix multiplications, matrix operations in general, not just multiplication, and also it deals with multidimensional arrays. So matrix is a 2D array, obviously, but there are other forms of, like if there are different kind of lists and arrays, it helps us with a lot of useful uh, functionalities. Similarly, there is a library called Pandas. So Pandas is a library for data manipulation and analysis that provides easy to use data structure and functions for handling tabular data. So what happens is that whenever we receive some CSV file, or whenever we receive some kind of data, right, and we want to see it in a rows and columns format, so Pandas library comes very handy, and it helps us represent as well as manipulate and handle data in a tabular format. Okay, so we'll see usage of each of these libraries as we go forward into the course. So these are most useful libraries, so we'll anyway be using it. Matplotlib is again one of the very important library which is used for data visualization, and it helps us create a different kind of charts, bar charts, pie chart, and different kind of charts to understand and make some analytics out of the data that we are dealing with. So for example, let's say if you have some retail store data, right, and you want to identify which category is performing, uh, is selling most, right, or compared to the other categories of products. So you can plot a chart based on the sales of each category of the products, right. Similarly, Seaborn is another data visualization tool which is built on top of Matplotlib, and it has some advanced visualization capabilities. So for example, you can see some heat map, if there are any correlation between some of the features, and how some feature is impacting more than the others, right. So there are a lot of functionalities, and you do not need to wait too much. In my next couple of videos only, you will be seeing me using all these libraries, so do not worry. The next one is scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is the most famous, I would say, in my opinion, library which is used for machine learning algorithms, the classical machine learning algorithms, especially such as classification, regression, clustering. So all the technologies, or all the algorithms that I had discussed in my first video, such as k-means or decision trees, random forest, right, linear regression, logistic regression, all those things have they scikit-learn has a inbuilt functionalities for each of these. It also help us handle data in terms of like training the model, how we can split train and test data, then how we can prepare the data before feeding into the model, right, and how we feed the model, then predict on the new data, right. All these functionalities are there inbuilt. The next one is very important. So TensorFlow and PyTorch, right? These two are deep learning, machine learning and deep learning, but mostly they are deep learning libraries which are used for a lot of different tasks, such as image, speech recognition, then natural language processing, right. So the idea is that it helps us provide advanced, because as I had explained that deep learning technologies are a very highly computing, needs high computing power, and they have a lot of complexities, unlike classical machine learning. Classical machine learning is also complex, but deep learning, because of its hidden layer and number of neurons or the parameters that it handles, it is very complex. So that is why the TensorFlow and PyTorch comes in handy. So TensorFlow was developed by Google. Okay, so Keras is a kind of a wrapper, it is written that it is a high level library. So it is supports or gives a more user friendly interface to use TensorFlow or PyTorch, right? So because there are a lot of like I said, in TensorFlow we have to define a lot of things, and then while building a model and defining the layers, so it is more raw in that sense. But to make it more user friendly and interactive, Keras was built as a wrapper library that supports TensorFlow and PyTorch. Okay. So some of the libraries that we'll be discussing apart from those are which are very specific to natural language processing and computer vision tasks. So Spacey is one of the very important and famous library for natural language processing tasks, and there are a lot of things that we can do with it. And again, I do not want to get into a lot of technical jargons right now because it will be difficult for you to understand. But it also helps us to like tokenization, stemming, vectorization, and so on so forth. Okay. And Hugging Face transformers, it is one of the library. Actually, transformer is one of the concept technology that is introduced by Google again. And Hugging Face is an organization who built a library to use this. Okay, so Transformer provides libraries, so APIs, and tools to easily download and train state-of-the-art pre-trained models. So we'll go again deep into the what are transformers and how they are built. So, but for time being, I just wanted to let you know that transformers are pre-built models. Okay, which can support a lot of tasks related to natural language processing and other tasks as well, but mostly into natural language processing. So these are language models. So they have been trained on a lot of Wikipedia data, a lot of books, and a lot of different kind of open source content, as well as some of the content which may not be accessible to us. But they have trained and on a very high configured servers, and they have gave us those models for us to use it. So it's kind of they have outsourced open sourced these libraries so that the whole community or the whole developer community can utilize it to solve some new problems for their business needs. But these are very very interesting libraries, and you will definitely like when you see them in use. So OpenCV is another open source computer vision library. So that provides real-time computer vision and machine learning. So OpenCV, like I said in my previous video, that computer vision is one of that field where we deal with images and videos, right? That if we want to identify some of the objects or person or animals, flowers, anything, right? Different kind of things in a image or a video. So OpenCV is one of the common library that gives a lot of functionalities. Cafe is again another deep learning framework that supports image classification, segmentation, and other computer vision related tasks. So we'll see one by one. There are a lot of other tools and technologies which are relevant here, like YOLO, you only look once. That is also a very good tool. But we are not able to cover all of these right now because of the it will be a very long video, and as well as it will be too much to take in one single session, right? So that is why. But there are other useful tools also. Okay. Now apart from these libraries, right, there are few other important tools that are important when you are choosing your career as in a data science field, especially as a coder, right? If you want to build something, but so these are the tools which are important for you. So Jupyter is basically a IDE kind of tool. IDE is interactive development environment. So it's an interactive tool that allows you to create and share documents, code, visualization. So you can run the code on a small segments, right? So unlike how we program it is that we generally write the whole code in a one single file, and then we have to run through the compiler or interpreter. right? But here you can just write two lines of code and then run it and see the intermediary result at each step. So it is very useful, and I'll be using a Jupyter, either Jupyter notebook or something similar in the VS Code integrated notebook style, that at each step we can see how the results are coming, and it will becomes more interactive and user friendly. Anaconda is a Python distribution. So there is one more, like pip is another Python distribution, which includes all the libraries as well as tools, if you want to install any kind of packages, right? So we can anyway be we are able to install it through pip also. But what Anaconda provide us is that the functionalities that it comes with. So along apart from like creating and maintaining different environments, so for example, let's say if you want to if you are working on more than one project, right, and each project has a different requirement of the packages, or even if the same package you need different versions of the same package. For example, even for Python, for some project that you are running, you may need 2.7, and for some other project you may need Python 3.6, right? So if you just install without any environment maintenance, you can retain only one version of it, right? And there will be a lot of conflicts every time. You'll have to upgrade or downgrade the versions, right? It will be very clumsy. So instead of that, Anaconda provides you to create the environment, and so that each separate project can have their own virtual environment with the relevant requirements that they need to run that program. Okay, and we'll see more into it, but my main focus right now is to teach you the data science instead of these environment things, because this may be relevant for non-data scientists also. But this is useful if you are trying if you are getting into the data science. Okay. Tableau is again a visualization tool, which creates dashboards, reports, charts. So we have seen some of the libraries, right, that I showed: Matplotlib and Seaborn. So those are the libraries that gives creates some kind of graphical representation of the data at a smaller scale. Smaller scale means that it will at one time it will just create one graph, right? And it will be very complex for those libraries to create dashboards, combining multiple charts or reports in one single screen. So Tableau and Microsoft has come up with a Power BI tool, which is similar to Tableau. It is again a reporting tool and creating the visualization. So Tableau is very famous. You can use Microsoft Azure Power BI also, but both are very user friendly for any kind of analytics, any kind of visualization. So all the higher management generally make use of these dashboards and reports to define their business strategies. PySpark again. So PySpark, I'm not sure if you are aware of the Spark. So Spark basically gives a resilient distributed data sets. So what does it mean is that when you have a huge volume of data, right, and it is not possible, and when I say huge volume means that it goes into hundreds of GBs or terabytes or petabytes even, right? So it's not feasible for a normal techniques, or for example, pandas is a data frame package, right, that you load it into the data frame and show it in a rows and columns. But when you have a huge volume of data, pandas is not able to process them because of its velocity, okay, or the volume of the data. But PySpark comes handy. So it is Spark is one of the big data tool, and PySpark is just a wrapper on top of it, which provides us the functionality to deal with a huge amount of data. Okay. VS Code again. VS Code is a IDE. It's a code editor that you can. It's a very beautiful interface and user friendly. That it comes with a lot of plugins as well that you can install on it. So it helps you write code, run it, debug it, and do the version controlling. And there are a lot of functionalities. The good thing is that it is very user friendly, and it has a lot of helpful features that you can search for the commands and then run it. It has integrated terminal where you can run your Python files or any kind of programs. You do not have to go for a different terminal to run. and again it is very useful. So we'll see all of these tools and libraries in the tutorial as we go forward. Tableau, maybe I may not be able to cover right away. It may take a while because anyway it is not directly uh, kind of useful for the data scientist. It is a next step, you can say, that after like when you are into analytics or visualization, then it will be useful, but I'll try to cover at the end. Let's see if we can. Okay. But yeah, these are the tools, and so this video will be short, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them, but for time being, that is all from my end. Thank you so much.